Episode 69, Meet the Breaker series with Steven, owner of FIlthbomb Brakes. All right, I think we're live now. I think we've started. Welcome to the Card Diary by Hobby S. Thompson. I'm your host, Denny Cards, mostly on Instagram, very little on other socials, including Threads, which I think continues to die on the daily basis. Today, we have a very special guest. We're going to continue the Meet the Breaker series, and we have on the owner of FIlthbomb Brakes, Steven. And this is not a coincidence. I mean, who knows what's a coincidence and what's not, but I continue to have people from the New York area on the podcast like over and over and over again. And I'm like, I don't even live in the New York area, but I just feel, I guess I continuously gravitate towards people who are still in the New York area. So, Steven, want to learn much more about FIlthbomb and braking and all that. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So our mutual friend is Alex, the sports card stallion, and he got us connected. I know back when you guys had that big pull of the Shoei Babe Ruth cut auto, he was like, yeah, let's get something together. And, I've been on his podcast and, we've been talking, but I thought maybe this time would be the perfect time because we're finally at this kind of like Meet the Breaker series and kind of humanizing breakers. So before we get to the big pull and the 100 case break, I mean, could you kind of tell us the history about FIlthbomb Brakes?
Yeah, sure. From the beginning, from its inception.
Whatever you would like, from the cradle, or just from when it was like a teenager. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say in a nutshell, we started FIlthbomb at the end of 2017, before braking was really what it is today. Just did it for the love at the time. People were making money braking who had allocation around that time period. We didn't have allocation. So it was literally for, the love of the game. We were making $100, $200 a break and never could have anticipated COVID happening or any of this stuff happening. So I just wanted to work for myself. So I started up braking, kitchen table, like a lot of people started. And, luckily we were able to grow it to what it is today.
Awesome. So did you have a partner or was it really just you, like at your house?
It was me at my house.
Wow. And then the people who you've kind of like surrounded yourself with, like your team, are these like your buddies from, like high school back home, or is it like, people you like kind of like interviewed, to get into that, or is it like family? Because I know some people have family helping out with them.
Yeah. So for the most part, so John is my brother-in-law. He's like here. Frank, he's my best friend for my whole life. And then a lot of the other people that are here are from the community, Glen Cove. They live like right here. So it's kind of like I wanted people who are cut from the same cloth, so to speak. And just people, even slang and terminology, everyone understands the same, vernacular over here. So it's kind of like it's very easy and seamless when somebody joins the team to pick up.
Gotcha. So for those who are unfamiliar with Glen Cove, this is in Long Island?
Yeah, Long Island, New York.
It's been such a long time since I've actually lived there. I like visit New York and, Manhattan and Queens. I grew up in Queens, Woodside, Sunnyside. So I know recently language changes so much. I know there's like this sandwich. There's this kid I see on Instagram all the time. He's like chopped something like something way, and then you like chop it up and you put all the burgers and the cheese on. It's crazy. But anyway, but yes, I am totally out of the vernacular of New York City right now. But yeah, it's good to have people who you can kind of vibe with, right? So so you're not just the owner, you also break on camera, right?
Correct. Not as much as I do, but I try to. It's just, man,
gotcha.
My thing when I first started was consistency. So I broke every single day for 3 years, sick. Like I had 102 fever sometimes, breaking, not letting anyone know.
Wow.
even like my grandfather died, I broke that night because it
Oh
was,
man.
yeah, it's like I believed in just being consistent no matter what.
Hmm.
Um, Now there's so many other roles in the company I need to fulfill.
Hmm.
Still try to somewhat, be on camera.
Gotcha. And I guess the team around you, it's really important because I think recently with the breakers who have gotten in trouble, it's been like the person who they just like recently hired, they didn't really like vet or they didn't know much about, and they're the ones who are doing like something unsavory on camera. And then, the as we've seen, I mean, maybe one example I'll just say is like the Retail King. It's like that whole operation went down because of this person got hired like a week ago or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we
So,
have a process. We also, before you even get on camera, you need to be working here for anywhere from 3 to 6 months on just the sorting and shipping side. So you can learn
mm,
business. We could, it's easy to weed out somebody for the most part that's doesn't have the right intentions, especially because we all come from like the same, like I said, the same area. People know everything about everyone over
yeah.
here. So it's very hard to slip a bad apple through it. And not saying it's impossible, but
Right. And work ethic,
it's
right? I mean, people who are reliable, who show up on time and leave when they should and like are just kind of like good hard workers, right? I mean, people who yeah, you're able to weed that. I like that you have like an onboard process. I immediately when he said that I was thinking of this like sushi. Like do you like sushi?
hell yeah.
Yeah. So I love sushi. I mean, I love all food. I kind of I've been playing around with this idea of being calling myself the hungriest man in the hobby because I just love to eat. I just eat everything in front of me. But I need to work out more. But that's besides the point. My understanding of a sushi chef, why is that so hard to say right now? Who goes through training is an apprentice under a sushi chef has to go through 10 years of just making the rice. There's a very particular way where you have to like fan it, season it with the rice vinegar and the sugar, and like, make it come out perfect. I mean, 10 years of just making rice before you can even touch the fish is like insane. I mean, especially nowadays where everything's so fast. But when you're talking kind of like this onboarding and like apprenticeship or like just this way of like weeding people out, I mean that's what the now I'm totally in my head. The sushi chef is trying to do is, are you committed to being like the best sushi chef that you can be? So I think that's really interesting. So yeah, good job. I doubt a lot of people do that. I don't know if like, do you guys talk to other breakers? Like, do other breakers do that type of
I'm not sure
onboarding?
if they talk to other breakers.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yeah, not for any particular reason. It's just there's no, you know, if we had to, we would. It's just,
So
um,
so I guess one thing I wanted to ask about that then is like, do you when you set your prices for breaks, do you like where do you go for that information? So breakers don't talk to each other about like what prices should be and like compare and all that. Like how could you kind of walk us through the process of like setting the prices for like a PYT or random or case break?
so every product's different. Obviously, every sport's different. We just price our stuff to the market. So a lot of it has to do with resale value of certain players that are on the teams.
Hmm.
Uh, for the most part, though, once you get the first product locked in for that year, like say 2024 now just came out Series 1, so you
Yeah.
have like Lee, Dominguez, Carter, all that. It's going to somewhat stay consistent on a formula basis of the reds are 10% of the case, but then we always tweak it because it's not a perfect science. People get hot, people get cold, resale goes up and down on certain players. But for the most, like, we always price our stuff from scratch. We don't ever take it from somewhere else. Uh,
Mm.
and a lot of times, I really do feel people are mispricing the hell out of teams, you know. But then it hurts us because people be like, "Oh, this breaker is $20 cheaper on this team." But it's like that's not our fault. They priced it wrong, you know.
Hmm. So you
We're
guys are you're the trendsetter, you're the price setter. Like you're one of the big boys who other smaller breakers kind of look at and go, "Oh, like I'm going to look at their pricing and see what adjustments I want to make."
Yeah, we have the luxury of posting first and getting undercut.
Oh my goodness. How How about fluctuations during the season? Like, how does that work? Right. Like, let's I'm in the DC area. They got Nationals and Orioles. Of course, the Orioles are really hot, but like the Nats are, I see them always kind of like really reasonably priced because they don't have any hot prospects or whatever. But like, what if one of them, I don't know, Menezes or whatever, right, just kind of comes out of nowhere and like just, well, not comes out of nowhere, but does a lot better than expected. Does the price of the Nationals go up during the season?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I mean. Like, it's not a perfect formula. You'll always, for the most part, we'll have it on a spreadsheet, and we'll be like, for 23, for example, like 5-star is very closely priced percentage wise to like Diamond Icons, Luminaries is very similar. Even
Mm-hmm.
Cuts are the same for the most part. Ruth on the Yankees. So like,
Uh,
if somebody were to come out and get hot, not everyone's hot at the same time. So like, then we couldn't move up the Nats, but then it's like who's ice cold or who's not selling as well as they should be. So you can look at those teams.
mm-hmm. Um, you saying Ruth on the Yankees, I almost want to kind of start talking about this card because Alex told me that this card has been through quite the fun journey to kind of share about. But when it comes to, I guess before we get to kind of like the card itself, like, we've been talking baseball. I don't even remember who started it. Either I did or you did, but you guys are pretty well known for baseball because I remember FIlthbomb Mike. He had this amazing, like, I really like the content that you guys put out there. He had some sort of like spreadsheet or some sort of like, here are the hot prospects and here's what, we think the prospect market's going to look like. And, like, not just entertainment, but like value, like, information for the hobby and people to get into break. It seems like it's really important for you guys. And I'm not just, you know, um, blowing smoke, but it's like, it does seem as if you guys want educated buyers. Like you want the people who get into your breaks to know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah. When I started in 17, 18, at that time point, I started actually putting out blogs on
Mm,
one of the first people to do it. And I would study every prospect that was in the product and do like a little write up.
mm,
And more people are starting to do it now, but I was just the hobby didn't have it. And I was like, we need to, especially on prospects, you need to educate someone. If you want someone to buy something, you need to educate them on what they're buying. A lot of people are going in blind. Like, I remember in 19, Wander Franco's year,
mm,
Wander, but no one knew anyone else.
mm.
You know, like our job as breakers to educate them and let them know why this guy's a good buy, who's a sleeper, who's somebody that, after doing a deep dive, you really think that there's value in purchasing them. And now a lot of people, if you look, a lot of people have it, and it's kind of like what we have, just tweaked a little bit.
It's a little, yeah. So again, we are gonna get to the Ruth and we're gonna get to the 100 cases, but just a little bit more on this. Where would you get your information? And I know that could also change and depends on, because we know that sometimes, especially because every sport has like the position that just doesn't sell, right? I mean, for basketball, it's big men. For football, it's anyone who's not a quarterback. It's for baseball, it's the pitchers, and so like we know that performance is just not enough. It's you have to be in the right position. You have to be in the right, you have to be a rookie, of course, to have the most value. But like, where do you get your information about, the prospects to be able to kind of like get educated yourselves? Because I imagine you guys aren't scouts like at the games, like looking at these AAA games and all that.
So John now took over the whole scouting / making the article. But when I used to do it, I would just Google the names and just look up articles on them. I would look up videos on them. Now what John does, he'll take like 2 weeks to make it, and
Wow.
he includes a link to the video clips of these
Mm,
prospects, and he watches it. And it's almost like we are scouts,
mm,
not full-time scouts, but we actually, not me so much anymore.
mm,
John will take the time to watch the video and give his true assessment on what he thinks from film. So it's like we literally put time and effort into these articles that we put out and these spreadsheets we put out, where it's not just like, this is what we think. It's like, we think this because, and we
yeah.
post to the videos, links to the write-ups of certain prospects or important articles.
Yeah.
So There's like rhyme and reason to it.
That's awesome. And people can find this information on your socials, but also is there like a website? Is it like filthbombreaks.com or something like
It's
that?
posted somewhere on our website, FIlthbombbreaks.com. But what we
Okay.
do is when the product is coming out, it'll be on our Instagram bio, and you could just
Got it.
click public spreadsheet. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's
that's where. Yeah, there. I've seen the spreadsheet through the link tree in the bio and all that for Mike. And again, I just want to be very clear. All the breakers I've had so far, I've had a Fanatics breaker, Valor. I've had YZ from Bleacher Breaks, and just yesterday I recorded with Sarah, Mrs. Squirts, the original female, the first female breaker. So I've not received any payment, no affiliation, no like, again, we have mutual friends and I like your social, I like your content game. So that's why I have you on. But yeah, Phil, I'm not saying like filthbombbreaks.com and your one-stop shop to get all your breaking. No, none of that. How much correlation would you say there is between prospect pricing or hot prospects and like fantasy baseball, like not like a regular season rotisserie, all that, but like more of like a dynasty league where you really are mining for prospects? Is there like a strong correlation, or like kind of like fantasy baseball doesn't mean much when it comes to like the hobby
like
and pricing for baseball?
I haven't. So I stopped playing fantasy in like 2019,
Me too. Yeah.
just because I had to take over this whole thing that was booming, and
Yeah.
with it, and I just had zero time.
Yeah.
And something that like you really, if you want to be good at it, it's really intricate. You need to, study your prospects and stuff. But I know for a fact that they are strongly correlated.
Hmm.
These guys that are selling, let's go back to like just recently, 2023, Caminero, that whole
Hmm.
class, owns those guys are heavily coveted in the dynasty world.
Got it.
So it's just it helps people by doing dynasty. It helps them know the players that they most likely want to target in actual sports cards. And then same thing, sleeper. If you're doing dynasty, you're like, yo, this guy's a sleeper,
Mm-hmm.
and you over and you see his cards aren't selling for that much, like you're gonna want to pick him up.
I like that. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm slowly getting into more baseball. Like I didn't really, I didn't play little league. I didn't play, like stickball. I would play stickball with my friends in the streets and in Queens, in the rough streets of Sunnyside, Queens. And so, yeah, I didn't really have like baseball in my DNA. It's not something that I bond with my kids. Like we'll go to like one or two Orioles and national games. Like I got my Orioles hat on right now because I mean, this hat is so sick. I love it. This is the hat that gets the most attention. I think people are like, man, what is that? That's really cool.
That's the lid.
But yeah, it's the Mitchell Ness lids tops chrome thing. I pulled. I don't know how many. I bought like maybe like a dozen hats. I gave them away to friends for like during the holidays. But out of those dozen packs, I only pulled like two numbered cards. One was a Oscar Colas Gold out of 50, and the other one was a Mookie Betts out of like 99. But man, those packs are hard. I mean, you get three cards and it's a lot of base. But no, those are the only yeah, I'm trying to get more into baseball. Like I see the allure, and it's not just because like, oh, I need something to do during the basketball and football off season, but it's more of like, this is it seems fun. And that's what I'm all about, is like having fun. And like baseball, like I don't know, but series one, again, really affordable to just rip as a personal too.
Listen, baseball's where it's at. I took, from a business standpoint, I took a firm stance where I stopped selling basketball and football for a while
Mm,
when because everyone got into basketball and football during COVID.
yeah,
Baseball
yeah.
was number one. It's always been healthy. The most expensive cards of all time have been baseball.
Mm,
So this is something that's been around forever, and it actually has a true collector base
mm,
behind it.
mm-hmm.
Um, I say it all the time. Like there's people, we run player breaks. There's people that buy Johnny Bench. There's no one out there looking for Roger Staubach in a player break. It's like, it's just that it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So like even now, look how healthy baseball is. It's like basketball, everyone's chasing Wemby.
Mm-hmm.
Football, everyone's chasing Stroud, but it's like that's it. You're chasing like two guys. And baseball, there's so many guys, and I feel like it's so much more sustainable for the long term than these other sports. And that's why I really truly made a concerted effort to become one of the biggest baseball brands in the hobby, because I truly believe that's where it is in the future.
I I really like the way you said that. More sustainable. I think sustainability is so important because, a lot of people, like in this hobby they can just bottle rocket, capture lightning in a bottle. They're big for a little bit and then, whether it's through a shady situation or because they get burnt out, they just, how many boxes can you break where you're just so fed up or just like, man, I got no, and I don't really like the term ROI because it's not really investment, but like getting some semblance of your money back when you get into a break. It does seem like baseball is more, like you said, sustainable.
The price point's lower, the ROI is higher.
Mm-hmm.
Although the most expensive cards now are probably going to come from a football product or basketball product,
Mm-hmm.
but there's only so many of them.
Yeah, that's
You're,
true.
in basketball, you're looking for like 5 cards this year out of
Yeah,
prison.
yeah,
That's,
no,
you know,
absolutely. So what, I mean, oh man, again, we are going to get to this Ruth card and 100 cases, but when it comes to this, the I part of the ROI, the investment, like, do you get buyers who are just in it to, there's this one podcaster and, content creator, I'm sure you know him well too, because he's also in the New York area, is like Cage Lawyer. He says a lot, gambling, breaking is gambling. It's just slot machine, turn it, turn the handle and that's it. But you just mentioned how there's a true collecting base in baseball too. So I'm trying to reconcile the two. Because I think I tend to agree that baseball does have more, say, like people who are set collecting, right? That's huge. I mean, the only collecting you really do for a player in basketball, as far as I know, is because I don't really see any set collectors in basketball is like rainbow. And for all intents and purposes, there's really only one person who can complete a rainbow, and that's the person who has the 101. So, in my opinion, yeah, the baseball, the collecting, but then you got the collecting, and then you got like the gambling. So, how do you reconcile the two?
I mean, everything's a gamble, right? In life, like not breaking, you buy a single on eBay, that thing could go down tomorrow. Like whether you're buying singles, whether you're opening a box, like whether you're breaking, whether you leave your house in the morning, like you never know what's going to happen. Um, Everyone could spin anything any way they want,
Mm-hmm.
make a storyline out of anything, but breaking cards is no different than buying a box of cards, buying prospecting, buying Wander Francos. Like people got, it's the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, when it comes to it, just every, I don't know, situation or inflection point in life just has inherent risk one way or the other. I mean, I guess it's I think maybe it's because there's that money element, right? There's no like, when you leave the house in the morning, like, yeah, I mean, you can spend money along the way, but it's consumables. But like when it comes to, I think the reason people get so hyper, whatever it is, anxious or worried about the hobby is the price of wax is just so high. And breaking, people tend to maybe like, I don't know, blame breakers or just say breakers raise the cost of wax because in this, reverse Dutch auction world we live in, they're the ones who have the most, I don't know what it is, like income or the most equity to be able to buy at higher prices. And then, so like, I don't know, it's just, I think the more, what is it? What's the saying? More money, more problems. I just feel like people just get so stressed out because of the higher prices.
Yeah, it's look, I'm not gonna sit here and say all breakers are kosher and good for that. um, but for the most, even my competitors, people that are around before COVID, they were in it for, more of the love of the game.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't making money. There were people before COVID, crap ton of money. But for them to have started that journey when they
Hmm.
did, people that were big when I was started like at
Hmm.
12, 13. So like those
Hmm.
people for the love of the game too. There wasn't a ton of money in it.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's very hard to convince me when the money's there and it's easy and you're hopping in that you're doing it completely for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I mean, I get why breakers have such a shitty reputation.
Hmm.
99% of the breakers right now in the hobby are not necessarily doing it for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine to make money, but a lot of these people breaking right now don't even know cards. You ask them a question like, "Yeah, who's your favorite rookie in 14?" Like they weren't collecting shit in 14.
99%, you think? I mean, I know you're just kind of like ballparking.
No, I mean, how many people break right now? You got to be what, over thousands, right? Especially COVID.
Yeah.
All right. Right now do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Out of thousands.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's I think the barrier to entry is so low, right? I mean, yes, it's good if you have allocation. Yes, it's good if you have a shipping and packing department, but you can literally be a breaker by just having wax that you bought at the LCS and just saying, "Hey, I'll break this for you all," like on a whatnot stream, like, "Oh, starting at $1," and then if you're so small, you probably get killed. Trying to break even on that, but it does seem as if anyone can be a breaker, but it doesn't mean that anyone can be a good breaker. And what I've said in the past, and I think I've said this to FIlthbomb Mike too, is like good breakers are good for the hobby, bad breakers are bad for the hobby.
The problem is, though, then you have the in between people that aren't good or bad, but they're kind of like taking up space. It's the truth, like the brutal honesty. There's so many breakers out there that are just taking up space, and it's kind of hurting the whole pie. And like, I think over the next year, you're going to see those people weeded out. Whether they've been there for a long time, but they're not doing anything to push the hobby forward, and they're just kind of collecting a check, or whether they're, just there recently and they formed a momentum, but now it's becoming tougher, so they're taking a step back. But there's a whole, you got like your 1% of phenomenal breakers, your 10% of terrible breakers, and between there is just start getting weeded out.
I love that. That's great. Okay, one more question before we get to the Ruth card and the 100 cases. And this question comes from a follower, a friend on Instagram, Quinn Cards, and it kind of goes to like the whole like the brand, the value, the FIlthbomb breaks. Which, by the way, I kind of want to know, like, FIlthbomb, is that baseball related? So that's my first part of the question. The second part is, why should customers choose you to break with versus other breakers?
Okay. First one, it's literally so dumb how I was trying to think of a word, because one thing the hobby was missing when I first joined was branding. And I was like, there's no freaking brand. There's no logos. There's no anything. It's like Microsoft clip art. So I was like, what can I say? What's a word I could use that could symbolize a big card? So the first thing I came up with was a filth bomb, because I was like, it's filthy and it's a bomb. I said that night and it just stuck. And it's just weird. Like I always say, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in life, doors open, see parts, things, there's less resistance. And it was one of those examples where like it was so dumb, and now the company's built off of it, So like the word, I don't even like the word. It just stuck. And then as far as why you would want to buy into us over other breakers, I'd say the number one reason is going to be transparency. We're going to be upfront. We would never steal. You would never have to worry about a scandal. You have the right team behind us from that standpoint. So like any fear of not ever getting your cards, like that should go out the window. I know it's one of the main pain points in the hobby. But two, even if we did make a mistake and you didn't get the correct cards, like we're going to make it right. That's just like what a company does. If you're in this and you're going to fight over stuff like that, you shouldn't even be a business to begin with. Two, we have a huge team. So you're going to get your stuff. That 100 case break we just did got shipped out in under 5 days. So it's like we have the team and the capacity to put on, shows like that and get your stuff in a timely fashion. And nowadays, like getting your cards fast is more important than ever because the resale value goes down. So we make that a focal point. Our shipping is fast. It's secure. I can confidently say we have the most secure shipping in the entire hobby. because that was something from the beginning I put emphasis on. We ship everything in boxes, no bubble mailers. Everything is bubble on top of bubble inside the boxes. So like for your package to get damaged, I mean, you need like Paul Bunyan to stomp it out while driving a UPS truck over it. So like that's another reason we're knowledgeable. A lot of the people, some of the newer guys, like you can't emulate experience, right? So like I'm super experienced, John's super experienced, Mike's super experienced, but a lot of the new guys we bring on, they're not going to be the most knowledgeable, but shit, if you have a question, they're going to get you that answer because they're going to study from us, so we're trying to put out a great product where it's something that we feel that consumer would actually want to get behind. What else? I mean, that's really it. We try to offer the complete package.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, if it was an elevator pitch, it was it's one of those old elevators in New York where it's like cranking and it's like going up slowly. But no, I really appreciate the length of response you provided for that. So at this point, I did promise we were going to move on to the big pulls and cards, but you did mention the 100 case break. So I'll let you go either way. We can talk first about the Shoei, Ruth, Cut Auto 101, or we'll do both. But which one would you like to talk about first? The 100 case break or the Ruth Otani? Okay. Yeah. So I know the brief story about it, but if you want to provide just kind of like as much as detail information as you'd like about from the moment of pulling it to where it is currently.
All right. Well, first, let me start off by saying I'm a huge mush. I'm like the worst gambler when it comes to just being lucky. So with that being said, we put out $100,000 bounty on the card if you pull it with us. And it took all of one box to pull it. So we bought the card back for $100K, got a ton of publicity, a ton of marketing from it. And what was great about it, though, is at the time we didn't know. One of the people, it was a split card. One of the people that had the Angels, I believe it was, they were in such a terrible position. Their newborn daughter was in the hospital fighting for her life. They had bills piling up, crazy hospital bills. And it was like his last shot almost. And I mean, it was a ballsy shot, but the dude cashed out for $50K.
Wow.
So it's like that. You could honestly say that changed his life. It was a life-changing card. A lot of people are like, oh my God, this is life-changing money, but it doesn't mean it's a life-changing card. It just means you have money. He needed that money. So it was crazy to see it actually play out. Then it went to Golden after that. And, the best part is this. There's so many trolls out there, right? So we put $100K bounty. Oh my God, what a ripoff. Oh my God, this is a $500,000 card. Oh my God, how could somebody be dumb enough to sell it for $100K? Sold for $104,000 on Golden. So that's a pretty freaking spot on, that bounty.
Yeah. So what about the other dude? The one who had the Yankees?
Well off.
Well off.
When I called him to congratulate him, he was actually in the process of buying a car. So he was all right.
Yeah. So yeah, just quite the dichotomy there between those two buyers. So yeah, the trolls. I mean, maybe do we talk? Well, before we get to the 100 case break and the viral engagement, quote unquote, that happened. This was a redemption, right? And there's like two versions. One's like pitching and one's batting.
Correct.
Which one was this one?
This was a batting.
Which is arguably the more coveted one?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you guys immediately, like, how does that work? Like with the redemption? I mean, that one, hopefully, clearly it was fulfilled, but that's definitely not a redemption that's going to be, missed.
Yeah, we're working closely with Golden and Topps, trying to get it fulfilled. But what happened was Otani wasn't signing yet because surgery. So it was kind of, we were just trying to play it out. We felt it was a good time to let it go on Golden when we did. It probably would have gone for more if it was the physical card. But, I mean, it is what it is. I was just trying to get my money back. I didn't care.
Right? No, totally. That reminds me. I think Anthony Richardson recently, they were saying how his autos didn't look real, and apparently he had surgery on his writing or throwing arm, and so he was signing with his other arm, his left arm, and just kind of like it didn't look the same. And I don't know if that's the real reason, but yeah, I mean these athletes do get injuries, and they're not able to sign when they're supposed to, and a card like that, I mean, I imagine it was the Otani part, not the Babe Ruth part. It's like Ruth isn't signing anymore. What?
Nope.
So no, that's great. So it did sell, and you did make your money back, and so it ended up, all is well that ends well. But were you able, even with that bounty out of the way? I mean, when it came to, I forget what set it's from, but you guys were able to kind of like push through the rest of the sales for that.
I mean, one of the benefits of being one of the biggest baseball breakers is we have a really nice audience, and people know they could come to us for high-end product like Definitive. I think we moved 75 to 100 cases of Definitive. I don't know the exact number. It could be more. I just don't want to have.
No, yeah.
But I know we had like 50 in the first week. So I don't know where it went.
Wow. And again, this is not like a sponsorship or promotion, but like, did you, from the time you started breaking for the first time, like on your kitchen table by yourself, to now, like, where have you broken and where do you currently break? Like, has that changed?
Oh yeah. So what we're doing right now is what I envisioned when I put my, mind to this at the beginning. We went from the kitchen table with spotty Wi-Fi to 300 square foot office above a pizzeria to 1,000 square foot operations center that turned into a storefront during COVID. To now we're in a 5,000 square foot storefront / operations center, and we're already out of space. We're like canned ham in here.
Wow, that's incredible. 5,000 square feet. So from a streaming platform standpoint, like, did you start off like just YouTube and like, Instagram, and then you go to like Whatnot, and then you go to Fanatics Live? Like, how did that work out? Like
we were only on Facebook for the longest time. We built a community there, which I felt was super important to be successful in the hobby. You need a community behind you. I used to be in the music business, and it's very similar to the music business, right? Like guerrilla marketing, you're marketing yourself, you're trying to build fan base. So it's very similar in that respect.
Okay.
And I felt like going the Facebook route was the easiest way to accomplish that because people are seeing you're seeing their profile, they're seeing yours. You're able to have conversations with them through comments and stuff like that. Then from Facebook, I think went to Instagram and just started offering like personal boxes there. And it kind of it was all right. Then we found Whatnot, and then we exploded for a little bit on there. But then we just didn't like I'm so straight up, and I just didn't like the way things were being done over there. So I pulled the plug 100%. Just like, I was like, we're jumping ship. And then Fanatics came up, and it was an opportunity I just would be, because I think it's the future. So that's where we are now.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Thanks for that. All right, I have to ask. This is a complete tangent, but you said you were in the music business. What kind of music?
R&B, pop, hip hop. I was a songwriter.
I was going to ask which role. Or were you the singer, the writer, the producer? So you were the songwriter. Any songs out there in Spotify?
No comment. I'm not, not getting dug,
No.
dug up.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll stop there. I'll keep this nice and easy. So I do have a question. Speaking about these multiple platforms, this question was from Wing King Cards, and I did ask this to another breaker earlier too, which is, and you may be biased or maybe not, or I'm just going to ask it. Which is the question was, which of the which streaming app or platform do you think is going to be the highest grossing 5 years from now? So 5 years from now, it's currently 2024, 2029. Just doesn't have to be exactly 5 years, but just kind of like long range, and give you a moment to kind of think about it. My opinion generally is that what if yes, Fanatics Live is up and coming right now. Whatnot is maybe the highest grossing, but what if it's something that we don't even know is currently existing? Because we know that there's a lot of money in breaking. Certainly, Alphabet, Meta, all these bigger companies, they have the YouTube, but YouTube, they're not monetizing it. There's also TikTok. And then what if Amazon's like, you know what? We don't want just Amazon Prime. We want Amazon streaming. Oop, that's me. Let me turn that off. I thought I had everything turned off. I'm sorry about that. You know what? That was actually Amazon calling me and be like, "Why are you talking about that?" Yeah. So those are my general thoughts. But what are your thoughts on that? Which one do you think is going to be the highest grossing breaker platform in 5 years from now?
It's Fanatics Live, and I think not only is it going to be the highest grossing, I think everything else is going to fall off the face of the earth. And the reason why is Fanatics controls the product. If they don't want you breaking somewhere, you're not. So how is Amazon? How is Whatnot gonna have you break product that you're not allowed to break over there?
Right. No, totally. I get that. And actually, that was Michael Rubin calling me, not Amazon. That wasn't Jeff Bezos. That was Michael. Sorry, I had to put him on. I had to take him directly to voicemail. Sorry about that, Michael. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Telling me the history of where you've streamed and where you like it now. And Fanatics Live, they control the vertical integration, the card production, the auction houses. I'm sure grading is going to be coming down the pipeline, although someone told me that maybe it's already have happened. I don't know about that fully. But like when it comes to the ecosystem of the hobby, and we're talking about all these different things, you got the consumer, and then unfortunately you have some people who are very unhappy with the hobby yet still continue to participate and engage in it. We like to call them the trolls. So you had 100 case break video go hobby viral, and a lot of engagement, but just a lot of like hate. And I just saw it and I'm like, what? Why are people so upset about this? So can we talk about the 100 case break, just the virality and the social media engagement, and then just like the logistics about it, like the positive stuff about it too?
I mean, I wish everything we posted got that type of engagement. It was insane, right?
Yeah.
Some of the thought it was like behind the scenes footage from Epstein's Island or whatever. I've never seen anything like it. It just took off. I don't personally understand why there's getting so much hate. It's a flagship product. There's so many cases of that stuff produced. Anybody that's saying our 100 case break affected their local card store getting a case is high. It's just a lot of uninformed, uneducated people with opinions at the end of the day, and they're just following each other over and over and over. That's my take. I mean, they could be very informed and very educated. I just don't think they are. Then, on the bright side of it, I feel like we're taking the hobby in a more positive direction. People are counting money, right? People like to pocket watch. So it's like, all right, let's be super transparent here. Selling this product, did we make good money on it? Yes. Every single breaker was selling this product for more than we're on a case-by-case basis, right? We just happen to have the ability to move 100 at once. Wow. Don't hate us. That same breaker charging $1,600 per case on Jumbo, You know, we were charging at the end of it, we wound up getting 1,300 a case, which is like super low on that product. That's like really low. So not only do we offer a better product at a better price and get your cards shipped out probably faster than somebody doing one case. You know, we also gave you the opportunity to somebody didn't want to spend a ton of money on the Yankees, but they're a huge Paul O'Neill guy. Go buy Paul O'Neill and get him for 100 cases and not have to spend up on the Yankees. You know, there's like so many pros to it. Yes, there's some players that you're going to wind up paying more for than if you were to get them in 100 individual cases, right? And those are your premium players. But let me ask you this. Is there a value to being able to get Ellie De La Cruz for 100 cases at once, right? Is there a convenience to not getting 100 different packages from 100 different breakers over the course of 2 months? I'd say there's a value to that as well. So, you know, a lot of it is.
So was this pick your team, pick your player? It was pick your player. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Again, for those who are maybe unfamiliar, like I don't know if you remember the exact numbers, but like, so how many players were there? What was like the cheapest player? What was like the most expensive player? Like,
what we did was we ended up taking discounts, which we always do anyway. We priced the cheapest players, and this is somebody that just has numbered cards, no autographs, but then they have the Gold Mirror SSPs. The cheapest players were priced at $1 a case.
Wow.
So
there you go.
Like, so if you're a Daniel Bard guy, which not people
nothing like that.
you could get $1 a case across 100 cases. You know, and it's like we just have the ability to move a break that size. You know, we shouldn't be crucified because of it.
I'm going to get a DM from Daniel Bard's brother being like, listen, man, that wasn't cool what that guy was talking about. My brother. I don't even know if he has a brother. So that's $1. Wow. I mean, talk about a like super cheap, fun, easy way to get into 100 case break. Be like, you just want, like I like my Nationals, and you know, they're not doing too well right now, but like not even just the Nationals, like if you want just very specific players on your team, you can just get in for $1.
Like Aaron Judge, I believe Aaron Judge was $2,000. So it sounds like a lot of money, but it's $20 a case for Aaron Judge. Like, is Aaron Judge not worth $20 a case to someone? Somebody, Aaron Judge, and they want to chase all his parallels, his new logo variation, the SSPs, the auto. You're getting a shot at Aaron Judge through 100 cases.
Yeah.
And not only are you going to have to not watch 100 cases being ripped throughout a month, you're going to get this. We broke it in under 10 hours.
Wow.
You know, so it's like we just opened up 100 cases in 10 hours for the public. Now all these singles are going to hit the market.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, I don't have $2,000 to put into any break, but that does sound fun for the people who have the money. Was Ohtani the most expensive though?
He was one of them. I think he was like $8K.
Ooh.
$80 a case, but it's like he wound up, that spot wound up probably getting, like, this is what you have to think, right? You get all well, he didn't have base, so you have his auto, so we hit an auto. You get the inserts, you get the numbered inserts. You know, that the person that took Ohtani in that one didn't do great. They did hit an auto. They probably got about like $2K worth of Ohtani. Dominguez, he was at $9K, I think. He's one of the biggest rookies. Super Fractor out of the silver pack.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
So like that person, not only did they hit that, they hit all his autos. We hit all his parallels, all his rookies, all his silver pack. Like that person crushed it.
That's the gamble. Yeah, you go for Jason over Ohtani. Another 100 cases, it's maybe Ohtani over Jason, or whatever it is. So, thanks for that. And just I can't even imagine how many players is this? Like baseball, I know basketball, like it gets inflated with like the veterans and all that, the retired players. But like how does baseball look like? How many
I mean,
players are we talking about?
like Series 1, I
Yeah.
think it's almost 600 people on the checklist.
600 players. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's more
Yep.
rosters than more roster spots than the NBA. Um, I mean, I imagine not every single player has a card. I mean, like in football, they have like 53-man rosters, or they don't have the place. Well, I guess they do have place kickers, but um, yeah, not the bench players. But no, 600 players, and so 100 cases. How many people are you're always breaking on one camera, and
So
people are
what we
rotating in and out, or how does that work?
did was we set up 2 separate cameras and
Okay.
we separated the screen in half. So top half 50 cases, bottom half 50 cases at the same time.
Wow.
So it's
Smart.
kind of like red zone.
Yeah, you always got something on the screen.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really neat. And so, but are those two breakers who are doing that? Are they in the same room, or the volume like are they kind of like, can you hear each
It was
other?
a podcast. So like we tried not to talk over each other. It was hard. Where we tested the concept, we know it works now, so we're going to try to tweak it and make it better for the next one.
Hmm.
We had like I ripped, Mike and Frankie were across from me, and then John was next to me. So one person's ripping the packs, passing them over, the other guy's going through them, and it's happening, twice.
And I think Alex told me, but there is a way to watch watch the replay. It's what is it, like 100casebreaks.com or something like that?
Yeah, 100casebreak.com.
So 100 case CASEBREAKS.com.
I think it's case break, not
Case
breaks.
break. Okay, case break. I guess, yeah, it's singular. It's the one. I mean, no one's ever done this, right? I mean, you guys are the first to ever break
I think
100.
it's done. Yeah, no one's ever done 100 cases in one day. I think there's someone else that does 100 cases, but it's like 5 a day throughout.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
But
that's like, okay.
yeah, I think we are the first to actually do it on this scale and this amount of time, this turnaround time. Like I said, getting your cards fast
Yeah.
is important. So that's what we're trying to focus on forward.
I just want to interject here to just say, as a side note, but relevant side note, when I saw the blueprint insert set, I like fell in love. I'm like, I want these cards. If you told me those were case hits, I would have believed you. But these are not case hits. They're like one in what is it, like 8 packs or something like that? It's like,
Oh no, the odds, all I know is every player had like a team bag this thick.
yeah, yeah. It's like there's like multiple blueprint insert set cards in per box, and I mean, it just goes to show you, like, I mean, it does depend on the production run and all that, but it's not a numbered insert set, as far as I know. But the heart wants what it wants. So I was looking on eBay. I'm like, oh man, I want this card, and I bet it's gonna be expensive. I'm like, oh my gosh, these are like $5 each.
Yeah.
So those are definitely cards that I'm gonna try to look for. Because I think, what is it about the blueprint? It's like information. Go ahead.
Right. It looks like Jay-Z's album, the blueprint cover.
Yeah.
It's really
But it has like this information on it, and back when you and I were growing up, and like people cared about the backs of cards, and we're reading the stats, we're reading like the story, the narration, whatever's in the back that the card producer made, and it's like telling a story, and you're just like, I don't know, I just feel like we paid more attention to the backs of cards when we were younger.
Yeah. Well, I think because when we were younger, it was less about the money. Like it was more about the entertainment. When you got those cards, you didn't care what they were worth. You were just like, oh my God, these are so cool. And I think that's what lost a little bit of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that there weren't so many releases. So there, like right now, everything's like boom, boom.
Yeah.
Fast, so fast, so fast. So it's like you can't really enjoy it. Whereas back then there was like 5 releases. So you had so much time to like actually notice the small intricacies on these cards from release to release. Where right now it's like there's not necessarily time to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So talking about the younger Steven, who did you PC when you were growing up, and then who do you PC now?
Griffey was my main PC. Now I collect Otani.
Nice.
Well, I collect Jackie Robinson too, but as far as like, that's my biggest collection is Jackie Robinson. But from like a current standpoint,
Yeah.
Otani, who I
Nice.
back.
Are you happy or not too much with the move to the Dodgers?
No, I'm happy. I want
You
to
are.
win that.
Yeah.
I think, like I was telling everyone, like 2019, end of 2018, I'm like, you don't understand. This guy has the opportunity to like transcend the hobby.
Yeah.
We have the potential to see something that not only hasn't been done, but it's going to be done at elite level. And he's already got the MVPs. I think he's going to have another 2 or 3 minimum by the time it's all said and done if he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But get the rings,
Yeah.
and this is the way to do it.
It is. Yeah, the Dodgers are a great organization, that's for sure. So, all right, I thought about getting you out on that question, but I think it was a little too quick. I know I have you for only like a few more minutes, but I did want to ask. I mean, this one person sent me so many good questions, and I think I asked maybe 2 or 3 by this point. But let me ask you. Let's just go to this one. So, Pancake Analytics from Instagram, he asks, how do you balance the business aspect of selling spots and group breaks with the interest of collectors and hobbyists who may be more focused on the value of the cards?
That's explain that one more time.
Yeah, no, so I my the way I understand this question, so I'll ask it again and then I'll kind of give what I think it's going towards, which is, so here it goes. How do you balance the business aspect of selling spots in group breaks with the interests of collectors and hobbyists who may be more focused on the value of the cards? And so for me, I don't know, maybe if the word value is right, maybe it's more like the love of the cards. Like I think this is a flippers versus collectors type of, not flippers, but like the transactional side of the hobby versus the collecting side of the hobby. Like how do you juxtapose those? So, how do you price it? I mean, I hope I'm doing his question justice, but maybe I should have followed up with him asking him, what do you mean by this? But I didn't do that. Sorry.
No, that
Take the question however you'd like. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's something for everyone. Like if you're going to, there's different formats, right? So if you're more of like somebody that wants to just try to hit big, you have your random teamers. If you have somebody, you want a little bit more of what you're getting into, you want to have a little more say in that. There's your pick your teams. If you want to just really truly be a collector, you have to pick your players.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has a different price point. There's dollar auctions, or if you just want to try to get a deal. So, I mean, that's how I'm interpreting the question.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see what, like various ways to sell a spot in a group break. So, yeah. You know what's interesting? I broke for a very short time, but when I did, I didn't realize how much people really liked random teams. It's almost like they wanted someone else to take the wheel. They're like, you know what? I'll leave it up to someone else to go ahead and tell me what happens, because it's almost like they didn't want to pick. And I do think maybe the people who wanted random teams were maybe more the gamblers, the people who wanted to spin the wheel and see what happens, as opposed to like shuffling the deck of cards. I mean, we're literally talking about a deck of cards, and people are like, yeah, I want to just pick a number out of the remaining number of cards, versus someone who's like, hey, I live in Houston. I love the Astros. I want the Astros, and I'm willing to pay that breakers premium to get them in multiple boxes or cases versus buying like personal hobby box. So
I do want to say, I think
yeah.
that the hobby does lack true collectors compared to, when I was growing up. There were a lot more people just wanting to collect. So I think Finex is doing a great job of bringing over people that aren't in the space now, but people that are truly fans of the game. Somebody that's bought a jersey for the Eagles, bring them on over, try to get them into sports cards, because those are the fandom people. Those are the people that are actually, going to buy a team like you were just saying, as opposed to give me a lucky number. Let me see what happens.
Yeah.
You people that want these teams. And I feel like, a lot of flippers got into the hobby, a lot of people looking to make a quick buck. You don't necessarily have as much of the true collector as you'd like to make this as sustainable as we want it to be.
Very well said. I I know we're at time, and I feel like I could keep talking to you. I just feel like we need to just grab a slice of pizza up in Long Island and then just talk more. Let me ask you, that warehouse or that place where you were above a pizzeria, do you remember the name of that pizzeria?
Lorenzo's.
How was their pizza?
Well, it was Vittorio's, and now it's Lorenzo's, but it's still good. It was like the best pizza.
What is it about New York pizza and bagels? Is it people keep talking about the water? I mean, it must be. It's so freaking good. I'm getting so hungry right now thinking about it.
It's good. It's not close either. Like you're spoiled being in New York for sure.
Oh my gosh. I gotta make I gotta make a road trip up. There's so many things and people I want to see just within the hobby. I mean, I go up with my family. I can't do as much hobby stuff, but like I want to check out Bleecker Trading. I want to go check out now I want to go check out you guys. I know there's a grading company, AGS. They have a company up in there. There's like a couple of people. There's the Fanatics headquarters. I heard someone was invited me to try to maybe go on stream or break with them at Fanatics. I'm like, I would love to just see, how things look there. But there's so many things I want to do in the hobby up in New York City. So it's just a matter of time. I mean, 2024, it's as we record this, it's just February 22nd. I mean, it's gonna happen. So we're gonna get that slice of pizza.
I'm
Steven.
in. Whenever you're ready, I'm in.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of your day. Looking forward to the next 100 case break, and just keep crushing it in socials because you guys got some really good content out there.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
All right.